So, here we go. I'm getting ready to introduce him. You've seen him on HBO's Oz, The Crow, Once Upon a Time, Leviathan, and we all love him as Winston Zedmore in the blockbusters Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Please welcome to Spooky Empire, Ernie Hudson! All right, well, Ernie, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is school, right? Ernie, you're kicking off, is it on? It's, let me see. You go ahead and talk online.
Okay.
There it is.
Can you hear me?
There it is.
Okay.
We hear good?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. He's on. Ernie, you're the first panel of Spooky Empire.
This is the first time I've ever done one while I'm sitting down in a comfortable chair.
Yeah, don't fall asleep on me.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, it's good to be first.
Nice, nice. Did you just get into Florida today?
I always felt that way when I was dating. Yeah, no, I got here last night. I was here a couple of weeks ago doing a film festival, which is kind of cool. And so I'm back again twice in 2 weeks, so it's great.
Oh, awesome. All right. Okay, we'd like to talk about that film a little later on. If you're in a film for the film festival?
I can talk about anything you want to talk about, yes.
Yeah,
a movie that's called Gallows Road that's coming out in August.
Okay. Well, welcome, first of all. And everybody loves you as Winston Zedmore. But to kick things off, here's what I want to do. Everybody knows you from Ghostbusters, but I want to talk, let's go back in time a little bit. Because you were acting 10 years before you actually did Ghostbusters, correct?
Yeah, I've been acting pretty close to 50 years. So, yeah.
So that's a long time. You got a lot of experience in that. But before that, you were a resident playwright at Concept East in Detroit.
Yeah, I went to Wayne State in Detroit, college there, and I was a playwriting student, and I had a theater working with some actors, and people were putting on shows. And then I got a scholarship to Yale, and I went to Yale for a while. So Ernie Weaver was there, Merle Street was there when I was there. And then I left to go to LA to do a play, and then a guy named Gordon Parks, who was pretty amazing. He did Shaft and a bunch of other stuff. But he cast me in a movie called Lead Belly, we shot in Texas, and then I just started working ever since.
Well, yeah. So, what made you go from writing to actually becoming an actor?
Money. Money's always the biggest motivator. You know, I got married when I was 18, right out of high school. Why? I have no idea, but I did. And I think I got married because her mother was mean to her and made her wash dishes. And so one night when she was crying over how mean her mother was, I said something like, "Oh man, you shouldn't have to take this. I mean, we get married." And she said, "Okay." So we got married and had 2 children. And then right about the time I started my acting, the marriage ended and the boys came to live with me. I have 2 sons, 2 older boys. I have 4 sons altogether.
Oh wow, so you were
yeah, so when I got out to Hollywood trying to be a writer, writing, if you guys know, it's a whole long process. You turn your script in, somebody has to read it, somebody wants to take a meeting, they talk about changes, it drags on, it could be years before you get something done. Whereas acting, if I go in a room, if I get the job, I get paid. So, and when you have children, you gotta get paid. So that's, I put the writing on hold, and now I'm at a point, maybe I'll focus that way a little bit, you know. But yeah, that's why I chose acting as a way.
I see. And speaking of acting, what I want to do is, you were in a lot of TV shows. You guest starred in a lot of TV shows. So I just want to go over a list of shows I didn't know you were in, which I think is awesome. You were in Fantasy Island, The Incredible Hulk, Little House on the Prairie, Different Strokes, Taxi, Webster, The A-Team. There's a lot of shows there.
Yeah, I'm a working actor. Psych, yeah, I was on Psych. Yeah, I played Gus's dad. And then I was working on a film. I had a few days to complete it, and they went and got Keith David to be Gus's new dad. I don't know what that's and then they had the nerve to say, "He looks just like you," and I go, "No, he doesn't." But yeah, something, you know, as an actor, I work. I don't really question too much the script. You know, the biggest decision I have to make is either yes or no. And if I'm going to do it, then it's my job to do it to the best of my ability. And so it doesn't really matter to me if it's TV, if it's film, if it's theater. I got to make a living. So especially back in the old days when, you know, when I just had to keep food on the table, all those shows, you know, and yeah, it's all about work.
These are a lot of shows, like for instance, you doing 18 or different shows. These are auditions you go into, you're hitting the grindstone, doing a lot of auditions back then?
Well, yeah, I mean, as an actor, you go to Hollywood, you know that for every job out there, there's 100 people, at least 100 people who work for the job. I mean, everybody wants to work. So you got to somehow go in a room and convince people that you are the best person for this role, beyond and above everybody. And so that requires the audition process, and you know, when you go in and you do your thing, and if they are so impressed and it's always out of the 100 people, that includes family members of theirs and friends and other people they really want to give the job to, you got to somehow convince somebody that you are still the best person. And so, yeah, so I just had to work. And so, and when I did Ghostbusters, the strangest thing happened, because for 3 years after Ghostbusters, there was no film work. I don't know what that was about. I always thought that, you know, once you do a major movie, that you would automatically work, but it was just the opposite. And so I still was a single dad. I still had to pay the rent, so I just had to go and get a job. And TV there was one season where I did a different show every single week for the entire season.
Wow.
Dukes of Hazzard, Little House on the Prairie. I'm like, okay, I can be that. That's what I do. I'm an actor. So.
And speaking of acting, you also had a part as Jack Johnson, and then you came and you wrote you co-wrote a one-man play about Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know who Jack Johnson is. Can you tell us a little bit about this? This is a true story of a real person.
Yeah, Jack Johnson was the first African-American heavyweight champion. He won the heavyweight champion in 1908 during the height of Jim Crow, segregation, lynchings, and he was this amazing American who came from Texas and learned to speak 5 different languages. The government was so upset with this man that they created a law, the Mann Act, to just get rid of him, because it couldn't. There's a show called The Great White Hope. It's called The Great White Hope because America was so offended that this man was so amazing. So they went out for years trying to find a white guy who could beat him, and since they couldn't, so then they created this law and they prosecuted him. And he felt it was an unjust law, so he went to Europe. And during the First World War, he was, overseas, and finally in the back. But anyway, it's an extraordinary story. If you don't know, James Earl Jones did the movie called The Great White Hope. But so I did the play, which changed my life. And then later on, I wrote a script with someone. But then there was some issues with that. Issues? I don't know if this makes any sense. Am I making sense? I'm a little spaced out, yeah. So I wrote a script, and then I fell in with the guy who I wrote the script with, so. Anyway, I'm sorry, what was the question? So Jack Johnson, he's a great American.
Great American, yeah. The first African-American heavyweight champion.
John McCain passed a bill that I think President Obama finally signed 100 years after the fact, commuting his sentence, or he's,
pardoning him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now you talked about you had 2 kids.
I have 4 sons.
4 sons. 4 sons. 4 boys.
4, yes, 4 sons.
And then I read that your father was an actor?
No, I think that's James Earl Jones.
No, man, don't do that to me. Come on. No, don't you do that to me.
No, I never knew my dad.
Oh, okay.
So he might have been an actor. I don't know. He might have been James Earl Jones. I don't know.
Just so you know, Wikipedia says your dad is James Earl Jones. I'm just saying. No, not really.
No, I just said it because James Earl Jones, actor who I knew and worked with, was an actor, so I thought maybe that's why.
Oh, okay.
And he's also a black guy, so maybe.
Yo, you black guys with the light. I thought I was you. All right, But your son,
Oh my God, two of us on one stage?
Spooky Empire first. Your son is an actor.
My son, yeah, he's an actor. He was on the third season of Oz. We did, I think he's in Candyman 2 or something. So he did some work, but now he's into medicine and he's making a good living, and so he's no longer acting. But yeah, I have four amazing sons. My oldest son was an actor. Now he's in the, like I said, he's into medicine. My second son is a musician who just called me for some money, and literally. Like, dude, I can't talk right now. Like, and my third son is a writer, and my youngest son is a watchmaker.
Wow.
And I got them all through college, and none of them are doing what they went to college for. All their money is for what? It's like, it's, you know. Anyway, but yeah, all my sons graduated.
Oh, wow. Let's talk about, you did some voiceover work. I don't know if people know that. You're a voice on the animated series Transformers Prime.
Yeah, the Transformers Prime. Somebody got me, so I did Agent Fowler. But over the years I've done it, you know.
And then you did a Ghostbusters video game?
With the video game, I did the superheroes, Cyborg and the early superheroes. I'm an actor, I work, you know, so be it voiceover or whatever.
All right.
You know, you got to have this thing that you do. I think it's very important. A lot of people never find that thing that you do. It kind of defines, to some extent, who you are. And I'm an actor. That's what I do. So, but it grounds you in a very, very powerful way to know what you do. And it's not about how much money you make doing it, but it's about you can stand on that. And I think it's very important.
Is there a film that you did that you really felt, this is what I do, this is why I like acting? Is there a film that stands out that you've done?
I just did a movie for TV One called To Hell and Back. It's not a great title, but it's based on the book of Job. And my grandmother was very religious. I grew up in this church. I don't consider myself a religious guy. I do consider myself spiritual. I mean, I'm very clear on, you know. So I do believe, but I don't know if most Christians would consider me a good Christian. But I grew up in this church, and this movie was based on the book of Job, a sort of contemporary telling of the story. And I got a chance to play that character, and yeah, and it's great to be able to bring everything that you have to play in a character. Because a lot of stuff I do, and you guys have seen me, I'll be in the show, and you know, I had a couple of scenes, you know, in Desperate Housewives, I was a cop who came in and said you're under arrest and then leave, you know. So that stuff gets very frustrating, but so it's nice. But that was a movie that I got a chance to dance.
It really shows your talent. I read also too that when you finished Ghostbusters, you said you didn't get a lot of work afterwards. A lot of people consider you like a comedic actor.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes people want to identify you with a certain thing, which I don't have a problem with. If you want to identify me in a certain way and pay me a lot of money to be that, I have friends who are action heroes and they complain that they don't get a lot of different characters. I'm like, I'll be the action hero, just pay me some money. But I've always had to sort of work, so I haven't had roles that are tailor-made for me, per se. So it's almost like I got to go in and make the suit fit as opposed to somebody's, you know. And that's what I've learned. It's about surviving. It's about how do you do what you want, what you dream of doing? How do you hold on to that dream and just, you know, and not get taken out? You know, because the world sometimes seems like it wants to take you out of the game. But if you're committed to something, how do you stay in the game? And that kind of applies to a lot of things. But I have no idea. What was the question?
You answered it, just so you know. Okay. All right, now we're getting ready to get to the Q&A in just a little bit, but do you mind if I ask you 3 dumb questions?
Okay.
All right, 3 dumb questions, all right? First question is, do you own a full Winston Zedmore jumpsuit and a proton pack?
Yeah, I do. I got the jumpsuit from the first, well, 2 movies. I had my jumpsuit. And the jumpsuit from the first movie went missing in a hotel in New Jersey. No, nothing bad about New Jersey, just that the suit got taken there. But I do have Ryan Fear, who's an amazing guy, special effects guy in Los Angeles. He made me a proton pack, so I do have a proton pack. He made me a jumpsuit, and fans have made me traps and all kinds of stuff. So I don't wear it to the grocery store. You know, I used to wear it at conventions, but even that got low. You know, like, I think you'll know who I am without the jumpsuit on. So. But sometimes if I'm really feeling like just having fun, I'll put it on.
Put on the jumpsuit?
Yeah.
Here's another one. What is this, speaking of fan-made props, what's the strangest request you ever got from a fan?
You know, I remember I was in Los Angeles, I was walking down the street, a guy came up to me and he said, "Oh my God, Ernie Hudson, I just love your work, and my mom, she's just a big fan of yours. We're right by Cedars-Sinai Hospital." And he said, "You know, she's really in bad shape, and you're like a favorite actor, and would you come up and just, you know, say hello to her?" And I go, "But I don't, you know," he said, "No, it would mean so much to her," and so I thought, okay, all right. So I went up to the room, and he said, "Mom, there's someone here, he wants to see you. It's Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters." And she said, "Who? Who is he? What does he want? What does he want?" Oh no. She wasn't impressed.
Wow, that is okay, man. So what'd you do? What'd you do?
I just sort of backed out of the room. It's like people, they always come and say, "Oh, the kids." Well, go on, Bobby, tell the kids, like, "Oh, that's why I don't want to be here," you know. So.
Oh wow. And the final stupid question before we get to our Spooky Empire Q&A. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man grew, got possessed, all right?
Yes.
In your world, if you had to make a food mascot get that big, what would it be?
Food mascot, I don't know. I like salmon.
So Charlie Tuna? Charlie Tuna?
Well, not tuna, salmon.
Salmon.
You know. Yeah, a giant salmon.
So that haunts you at night.
Walks around saying, "Eat me." I love salmon. It's big. Somehow in the past year it's become like my favorite food, really. And I don't know why. Just salmon and spinach is like, you know, the complete perfect.
Wow, okay, salmon and spinach. All right. So, all right, now what we're going to do is